What if the heroes you thought you knew from the Punic Wars weren't the only ones? History remembers Hannibal, Hamilcar, and Scipio. But what about the nameless men, women, and children who fought when Carthage drew its last breath? This is their story, the untold tale of ordinary people who became extraordinary defenders. The year was 149 BC. Rome had come for Carthage one final time. The Third Punic War had begun, and the once great city was cornered, surrounded, and condemned to die. But Carthage did not go quietly. The Senate ordered every citizen, young or old, rich or poor, to defend the walls. Blacksmiths melted bronze from temples, hammering it into weapons. Women cut their hair to weave ropes for catapults. Children carried stones to the battlements, their small hands bleeding as they hurled them at the Roman legions. This was no longer the war of generals. It was the war of the people. Hunger soon became their fiercest enemy. Bread was baked from weeds, leather, even ground bones. Fathers dug trenches by night, collapsing from exhaustion by day. Mothers cradled starving infants, yet still stood guard on the walls. Survival itself became an act of defiance. The Romans expected Carthage to fall quickly. Instead, they met a resistance so ferocious that hardened legionaries faltered. Carthaginian sailors denied their ships, lashed burning rafts to Roman siege towers. Rooftops turned into fortresses. Pitch, stones, even jars filled with scorpions rained down on the invaders. Every street, every doorway became a battlefield. There are fragments of stories. A young girl, barely 13, carrying stones to her brothers on the ramparts until her hands were raw. An old craftsman, armed only with his hammer, fighting and dying on the threshold of his home. Mothers weaving their hair into the very ropes that flung fire at Rome. These names never entered the marble inscriptions of history. But in those final days, they embodied courage that no legion could erase. In 146 BCE, the walls finally crumbled. The Birs of the citadel, Carthage's last refuge, burned for days. Families fought together among the flames. Some chose death in the fire over slavery. The last few hundred defenders charged into the Roman lines, knowing there would be no return. It was the end. Watching the inferno, the Roman general Scipio Aemilianus wept. He whispered Homer's words, "The day shall come when sacred Troy shall perish, and so shall Rome." Even the conqueror knew he had destroyed not just an enemy, but a civilization. History remembers the victors, but the smith who forged spears from scrap, the mother who cut her hair for catapult ropes, the children who fought with stones, these were the true heart of Carthage's last stand. They fought not for empire, not for conquest, but for home. And though Carthage was erased from the maps, the memory of its defenders still flickers in the shadows of history, small, fragile, but eternal.